Hey guys, welcome to the Rat Grind. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is June 27th of 2018. We're going to look at the crypto markets and what has transpired today and yesterday, as well as we're going to look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, potentially where they're going to be headed, and as well looking at some crypto news that happened today. There's a lot of things that have been happening, but there's just only a few very significant ones that I want to be able to share with you. So before we get started, first of all, if this is your first time on this channel, please do subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when every time I put out new content on a day-to-day basis, as well as please smash the likes, smash those thumbs up. Please support this channel and give me your feedback, give me your comments, let me know what your thoughts are about the topics that we're going to cover today, as well as where the direction of the crypto market could potentially be headed and what your feeling is about those things, so that we can both collaborate on what I see and what you see that I may not even be considering. All right, so first thing, we're going to look at how the crypto markets right now is continuing to consolidate sideways. We haven't really gained much market cap, and the 24-hour volume is low again today. We're going to look at that on the charts, as well as Bitcoin showing a potential break up or break down. It's seeming more like to me a break up, but I want to show you guys the charts and I want to see what your opinion is. Also, Ethereum still looking bearish, guys. Still looking bearish. Potential downward momentum that can still happen the next couple of days that I'm waiting for confirmations on, so that I can be able to get in on some positions. And for some practical coin news, EOS constitutional change could be coming by Dan Larimer, the CTO, and the main head, the main brains behind the EOS technology, as well as news on the 5th of UK millennials are preferring to invest in Bitcoin rather than real estate, right? I was reading another separate news about this, actually, that's not unrelated to crypto, that the UK housing market is in a big bubble, higher than it has been, almost double to the 2007-2008 time, which could potentially pop and bring those prices down. We're not going to cover those today, but I just wanted to kind of bring that to your attention as well, so that you can be able to look further into it. And also, there's two Facebook news today, very related. The first thing is they reversed their crypto ban. So we're going to look at that news, as well as potentially they may have crypto ambitions and they may have their sights set on Coinbase. I know these are still unconfirmed rumors. They're rumors, but they are being reported out there. So I just wanted to let you know about them, so you can be able to make your best decision on potentially what this news could mean to the market overall. All right, so let's get into the charts, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, on the charts behind me, we always look at Coin 360 on a day-to-day basis whenever we look at the market. This is sort of my map, right? This is the first thing I look at before I start looking at my updates, because I want to kind of get a overall picture of what happened to the market overall, and this gives me a good pulse on what is where the entire crypto market is headed. As you can see, everything is pretty much in the green, although there's a lot of small assets, small coins that are trading lower, but not significantly. I mean, like I said, we're still trading sideways, but the gains as well as the drops are very small, within sometimes less than a percentage or a few percentage points up or down. So that's what we are. Let's look at the coin market cap right now. So if we visit coin market cap right now, the market cap currently sits at $246 billion, right? 246.5 billion dollars. But the key thing here is the 24-hour volume today is only $10 billion, $10.2 billion, right? So that means there's not a lot of buying or selling that's happening in the crypto space. That's why it's kind of stagnating. I know there's a lot of debate that I always see on the Facebook groups that I'm in, as well as the Telegram groups, Twitter, over, all over the place, where there's always a divide between the hodl community as well as the trading community. I personally do both, because I believe that if there's potential to take profits and I see based on the technicals that it's going to go down, I'm going to pull my money out. And that's just, for me, the smart thing to do. I know the hodling tribe is very, very committed to just acquiring more and more assets, but why would I continue to just keep buying? Why don't I just, if I see the technicals going down, I can sell it and then buy back at a lower price? I mean, I know some of you may crucify me because of that, but that's what I do. Not on everything. There are coins that I bought at a really, really low price back when they were just less than $1 or so. Those are the ones that I hold for long term. But as far as the other major assets, the top 10, top 5 cryptocurrencies that I hold, those ones I do trade, because every time I see that there's a potential to double up, that's what I'm going to do, because I'm not having to pull in new capital into the market, new fiat into the market, into my holdings, for me to be able to keep buying into them. I mean, dollar cost averaging, I do that also. I do dollar cost averaging up, I do dollar cost averaging down. But when I see the potentials of it going up, I'm going to hold them. And if I feel that it's starting to go down and I see the momentum picking up, that it's going to drop significantly, I am going to pull my fee, my trade out, so that I can be able to buy it in at a lower price, whether that's 5%, 10% difference. That's what I do. But what we're seeing is that really isn't happening right now. So there's not a lot of volume that's going in and out of the market. If we look at majority of the cryptocurrencies on the top 100, everything, as I said, it's trading sideways, right? As you can see, there's not much gains up or down. There are a few ones like Monero, that this privacy coin is continually going up. It hit about 3.64%. Let's just look at today. Digibyte 14.32%. Nebulous, congratulations if you guys are in these particular cryptocurrencies. I personally am not. I was reading a lot of news about Digibyte, so that's, congratulations if you're holding those coins. The lowest ones are Denta coin. I mean, I actually do have some Denta coin that I'm holding, just because it was when I got into it, it's still super cheap. It's less than a quarter of a penny. So it's, relatively cheap, but there's not really much going on in that project. That's why I'm not surprised that it is going up or going down. Mana, Qtum, Aeon, I'm very bullish on Aeon, because I think it's going to be that layer that connects a lot of these cryptocurrency assets together, a lot of these platforms together. But all of them really, went down a little bit today. But overall, I mean, pretty much like I said, majority of the top 100 didn't really move much today. Specifically, the top assets, of course, the top 10, or at least the top 5, all are in the green. EOS is doing 3.12% right now, which is relatively good. It wasn't doing that well earlier today. I think it's just in the last in the afternoon or the early evening that it started to pick up. So that's good news for EOS. There's actually a stream that is happening as we speak right now that I'm missing, but I'm just gonna watch the replay. Ivan, from Ivan on Tech. If you don't subscribe to his channel, I highly suggest you do. He's a really great guy. I mean, he knows his stuff. He comes from a very technical background, and he looks at a lot of projects from the technical details. And I believe Dan Larimer is talking about potential constitutional change to EOS in his channel right now. So after you watch this video, make sure to check that out. If you're watching this tomorrow, which a lot of you are, check out his channel to watch the replay of what happens there. We're probably going to talk about that in tomorrow's video. I'm not sure how late I'm going to do my video tomorrow, because I have an event that I'm going to. So I might get home a little bit late. Like I mentioned to you guys, I have a lot of extracurricular activities, serving the community and all that stuff. So I have a commitment to that tomorrow. So I'm gonna get back really late, and then I'm gonna see what happens in the market. But I'm always looking at where the market is headed right now. So let's look at Bitcoin right now. If you look at Bitcoin, we can see that it ended on a green candle again yesterday, right? But today it's trading red. If we look at the lower time frame, well, before we do that, let's just look at, again, we keep looking at this, the MACD, right? We're always looking for that bullish signals. If we zoom in here, we can see that it's crossed over, right? That's what we want to be able to see, a bullish convergence on this 1-day chart. And we're always looking for any complements or signal that, if we combine them together, will either give us the probability of the market heading down or heading up, right? So that's what we're always looking for. As far as the day chart is concerned on Bitcoin, we're looking at it on Bitfinex right now. It's showing a bullish momentum. And if you can see the sell volume on the MACD histogram right here, there's not a lot of sell volume that happened today. Hence, the small the minute change in the market today for the positive, but not significant. We want to see these big columns upward, right, for us to potentially see a lot more momentum in the market. And if you look at the RSI, it still hasn't been able to leave the oversold levels. It's sitting right now at about 29. So 29%. So we wanted to go above 30 so that we could be able to pick up some bullish momentum. But overall, I think that there is enough small momentum from a bullish standpoint that I see for Bitcoin that I do not see on Ethereum. So if we look at a lower time frame here, let's look at the 1 hour. You'll see how it hit another bottom today, not the bottom, but it did hit a lower price up below 5,000, below 6,000, 5,184 earlier today. This was about 7 o'clock in the morning. Actually, I didn't expect that to happen, but it was bought up, right? And it shot up all the way to 6,100, and it's sort of consolidating sideways right now. Right now, it's really hard to see what potentially it's gonna what pattern is gonna be forming in the next couple of days. I do see it continuing to go back up because it's just being rejected up here. But like I said, all the other indicators that I see is diverging bullishly, so we're gonna have to see where that takes us in the next couple of days. Let's look at Ethereum, guys, and see where that potentially is trajecting to. Let's look at it on Bitfinex right now. Let's look at the 1-day chart. I always look at that to see a more long-term trend for the particular market. If we can see here right now, it's again forming lower lows, right? It's still trading, it's still on a green candle right now, red candle right now, but it traded lower earlier yesterday. And if we look at the MACD, again, that's far. Whenever I see this, it's diverging bearishly like that. I can see that the selling momentum is still pretty high on Ethereum itself. So I think it's gonna, honestly, guys, way I see it, please don't trade because I'm telling you to do so, or trading it because of my analysis. Please do your own research. I'm not a licensed financial advisor or an expert in this. Please just look at this as inspiration and ask confirmation to what you already are thinking. But for Ethereum, I can see it potentially still going down, so it still has some shorting opportunity. If you are shorting it on Bitfinex or BitMEX, that could be a potential thing that you can be able to look out for. And if we look at the RSI, it's still, it ticked up, but still I have not seen any more signs that it's going to get out of this oversold levels in the next couple of days. Maybe on the weekend it can, but up until I see Friday, I don't really see this going up. But I can be wrong as well, but that's where I see it. Because if I look at the stochastics, we don't always look at this, guys, but I also have this indicator for my my TA, because this gives me an indicator of another indicator of oversold and overbought levels, as well as where the momentum of the volume is picking up or losing. If we can see here, this is completely pointing downwards. I only like it when it does point out above that and it's within this purple range, right? That's basically my signal that it could potentially be going up. So everything points to Ethereum continuing to be bearish right now. So I'm sorry if you are you don't like to hear that, but that's where I see the market potentially headed, right? So let's get on to some news. I'm not going to talk about a lot of news, but we're going to talk about whatever I have right now. So the first things first, Dan Larimer, okay, he is the founder of EOS, right? He releases a draft proposal of a new EOS constitution. There has been a lot of back and forth within the EOS community, right? Because there were accounts that were frozen by the 21 block producers that were elected to be part of basically the government of EOS. And so they locked out some accounts because of potential fraud. And Dan Larimer, to sort of, I mean, this is his baby, right? This is his puppy. He was instrumental in the development of this particular project. And he said that we have seen that if you give people arbitrary power to resolve arbitrary disputes, then everything becomes a dispute and the decisions made are arbitrary. The more power the arbiter has, the more vicious and petty the disputes become, and the less predictable the outcome is, right? And this was in regards to the stolen keys. They say that it will not be recovered by the ECAF governing body. So the smart contract arbitration going forward, this is what he's proposing. Users will need to opt in if they want the elected block producer and or ECAF to protect their interest. This would give the block producers and or ECAF arbitration system powers. A contract's code will need to be clearly defined the powers that these parties would have in executing the contract. So the proposal is trying to strike a balance following the account freezes, right? The contracts that are operating as intended, they will remain untouched. But the ones that are not, those are what will be affected by this. So I want to hear the interview that Ivan is doing with Dan Larimer as we speak right now. I want to hear more about this and more clarification of it, so that we know, we do hold the EOS assets, we know how this can affect EOS moving forward. Because I think, there's pros and cons of the sort of the Senate that EOS has, the elected Senate. You can elect these people as a token holder, but you're giving them all the power to basically govern the whole EOS blockchain and the EOS platform, of course. So that's something that, from a decentralized standpoint, it doesn't sit well with the whole community in general. But of course, like I said, there's always pros and cons to this. If you invested in the cryptocurrency, and specifically in EOS, you should have read what you were getting yourself into. There was a lot of news in the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, that if you don't touch your EOS tokens, they can be taken away from you. So there was a lot of commotion that was going on about that. And that has been there from the beginning. I personally read the white paper. I looked at the constitution that was governing the investment that I was doing. So I'm comfortable with that, because I think that if they do that to a lot of people and people dump, that's going to lose the value of EOS. So they're going to be very protective of that. And the value that these block producers have is by EOS prices going up continuously. And if they do something to destroy that community, then we all get hurt, and so would they as well, right? So that is something that I think that that is just put there for reasons that I'm not really clear on, but I think they thought about putting that there because of the fact that potentially people could do malicious things when they hold those coins, maybe hold it hostage and stuff like that. So, but again, that contradicts the decentralization of this particular cryptocurrency. So that is definitely something that we have to continue to look out for, right? So the next bit of news that we're going to talk about today is coming from News BTC, right? This was very interesting because I was reading this just before I got in the stream. I didn't plan to have this particular thing in my my stream today, but I was reading it and I found it fascinating because I was reading a side news about the UK real estate market. It's on a bubble. That's what they're saying, because of the fact that basically at the last crash, the last crash that it had back in 2007, the prices didn't really crash that much, and now it's almost double. So at that time, they were saying that the average home price in the United Kingdom was about 250,000. And now it's close to $500,000, right? So potentially that's going to go down because it's just unaffordable anymore. I mean, in the United States, we're in the same boat. I had I had a video maybe a month ago where I was talking about after the 2008 2009 financial crisis, banks were given the mandate to keep loans to a responsible level, but they found a loophole where they hired and basically funded private companies that are outside of the banking system to be able to provide these loans to people that cannot afford to buy homes. So that particular bubble that we were in is even bigger now here in the United States. So with the confluence of the stock markets dropping today, a potential bubble there, I mean, there's a real financial crisis that's going to be in our midst very, very soon. We just have to be able to recognize it and be aware that this potentially is. We need to get away from just thinking of Lambos and moons. We need to really look at the crypto space and the the overall financial market that it's part of. Whether you feel that crypto markets are separate from the market, from the overall financial global system, you have to understand that for you to be able to buy your crypto assets, you still need to use fiat currency to be able to convert into crypto. You can't just make crypto out of thin air unless you're a miner, of course. But still, for you to be able to invest, you still need to convert your fiat currency into cryptocurrency. So the value of those fiat currencies is also as important in today because we are still untethered. It's still all tethered together. So that's something that you really, really need to keep an eye on and keep your mind and thoughts into, because of the fact that we're all interconnected in a lot of different ways, and the global economy is not just stuck per country anymore. Everything that happens, the trade war, these back and forths bickering about trade and stuff like that affects the overall market in general. So you need to be able to keep an eye on where that potentially is going. So they're saying that for millennials, the soaring performance of Bitcoin, followed by an almost equally profound correction, holds more intrigue than the prospect of a steady growth in house prices. This translated to 27% of male millennials polled believing Bitcoin represents a better investment than property. So I'm going to link this on the description today, because of the fact that I want you to really read this even more. This was another profound thing. There was the chief executive of Get Living, Neil Young. This is what he said: what we found in this report is that Generation Rent are cautious when it comes to property investments. They are optimistic for the future and value the flexibility the renting market offers. This shifts can't be ignored. So there's a lot more people that are opting for renting rather than owning, because they are able to, just in the crypto markets, you want liquidity, right? So in the same token, these people want movability, where they can pick up and say, you know what, I don't want to live in this place anymore. I want to live closer to work. I want to move somewhere where, if I start a family, I can be in a good school district or whatever. They want to be able to have that flexibility to be able to move around, similar to how we think of liquidity. If we want to be able to get out of Bitcoin, is there enough liquidity in the market for us to be able to get out of our positions, right? So that is also a consideration that I feel that they're also thinking about, right? So the last bit of double news that I want to be able to share with you guys is Facebook, right? Facebook today, it's been reported everywhere, but I saw it on TechCrunch because, I'm in the marketing and tech space, so I always like being up to breast with what's going on in TechCrunch. So Facebook reverses its crypto ban, and they're saying that this is from Facebook: will listen to feedback, look at how well this policy works, and continue to study this technology so that if necessary, we can revise it over time. This is directly from Robert Leather, the product management director in Facebook, right? This is very bullish news in my opinion, because I think when they banned this in January, when they put out that decision, they were thinking, you know what, the whole market is crashing. There's a lot of scams that are happening in the space, so they stopped crypto ads from happening, and not to not to block cryptocurrency or say cryptocurrency or blockchain is bad, but it is to protect their users. You have to understand that Facebook is under immense pressure because of a lot of the the privacy problems that it's had. The Senate, the Congress, the other countries, even UK's parliament, they're all going after Facebook because of the fact that people that are using Facebook are I guess being subjected to their data being promulgated all over the web, right? For reasons that they don't understand, or for reasons that they did not accept, or they didn't really read into the terms. Now, because of that fact, they already know, their legal team already knows that they're under like immense scrutiny, as well as the magnifying glass on them, so that they felt that, what, we're gonna need to protect our users even more. Let's just take out this cryptocurrency ad so that we can just avoid this problem altogether. But as they found, as they researched more, the industry is maturing. There's a lot of institutions, governments that are really putting a lot of golden hands on crypto, just being very careful on it. So there's also doing the same. But we also have to think that this is also a money thing, right? There is billions and billions of dollars that they're losing, because they don't allow crypto ICOs and stuff like that to advertise into the space. So this needs to be clarified even further. The markets need to adjust. Facebook needs to adjust their policy. They're going to be studying this continuously, but it's still a very, very good sign that they have lifted the ban on cryptocurrency. The other related bit of news that I was reading on Hacked. This was earlier, right after I read that particular article. They said that Facebook has crypto ambitions. The lifting of Facebook ad ban suggests the company is pivoting towards blockchain and cryptocurrencies as a future business model. I mean, it makes sense. Imagine if you were able to transact, if they, imagine if they had Farmville before, right? When they had Zynga, you could use Facebook coin or something like that. That could potentially provide a lot of financial gain for Facebook itself. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but potentially that's what they could do. Or they can just, pivot in a way where they can be able to potentially acquire. Like it just says here, it was reported by The Economist, linking Facebook to possible acquisition of Coinbase. Because Coinbase has 13 million users. And as you know, they bought Instagram. Instagram used to be their competitor, right? Taking up a lot of their eyeballs. And it's all about eyeballs and usability for them and data. So if they were able to make that decision to acquire Facebook, it's not far-fetched that they will also consider acquiring another asset, wherein that could be Coinbase. Now, I think this is just rumors, and there's no substantial proof of this particular news coming out. But I mean, The Economist is a very reputable organization, very reputable source of information. But again, it's something that we just have to keep an eye on, potentially that it could happen. But rumors are just rumors. We just have to be able to just wait until whatever happens in this year. I mean, I think as of right now, a lot of people are just kind of stepping back and seeing where the crypto markets are going to be going, because we're still waiting for that bull run. We're still in that deep recovery. This is a really long recovery time, 6 months in this particular year that we've been seeing lower lows. So it's something that we need to be able to break off of. And I think by that time, a lot of these organizations like Facebook, who have the money, who have the resources to be able to invest and buy out a company like Coinbase, who is a behemoth in our space right now, it could potentially happen. All right. So that's basically all the bit of news and crypto updates that I want to be able to share with you guys. I hope you have found value in the content that I provided for you today. If you can, please do comment below. Let me know what you think. Let's discuss this back and forth. I want to see what your take on this on these particular news. I'm going to link them all to on the description below so that you can be able to read up on them and give me your input as well, so that I can be able to get your feedback and maybe help me as well make the right decisions and put me in the right frame of mind when I consider these news in my day-to-day crypto investment and also my trading. All right. Thank you so much for your time today. Until I see you guys on the next video, I wish you and your family a success-filled day. Good night, guys. I love you. Bye.